We sun gazing with all our eyes beyond that third eye nutrition. Pineal gland. Did you know that it's not the fluoride actually that's causing the major issues with the calcification of the pineal gland? Guess what the issue is? Oh yeah, it's blue light and non-native EMFs. But the fluoride still might play a little bit role in that. And fluoride for sure ain't good, because what fluoride does on a very basic level, this goes much deeper than this, but it basically steals your electrons. That's why it's so bad for you. That's why you wanna avoid fluoride. Fluoride comes into your body, it can steal your energy. Just like the blue light, just like the non-native EMFs do. But Rajiki never does this. But you gotta remember, fluoride is found in nature as well. Some bodies of water that human beings use for drinking can be fluoridated like a motherfucker. I know, for example, the rivers in Colorado, in America, are some of the worst fluoridated places that go through the Colorado, New Mexico, maybe Arizona. So if you live in that area, maybe not drinking from those waters. Now those states are also one of the worst states to live in America, because Colorado has huge military bases, those underground bases probably as well. So the non-native EMFs are out of this world there. So you get the fluoride and you get the Chernobyl. So your ass is pretty much fucked over there. It looks really beautiful. It's one of those places that would be an amazing place for human beings to live. The Native Americans probably did wonderfully there. Their redox were sky high. They could sense the 5 senses and even the 6th one really well. Their pineal glands. No calcification found. They were seeing with their all eyes. Intuition strong. But now Colorado is down some. But today I was thinking about, like I think every day, how they fuck us up, how they program to act and behave in a very destructive ways for human beings, to make the destructive hip and cool thing to do. Today I thought about it in a circadian rhythm perspective, because you can see this thing in multiple different perspectives, because they're attacking us from a multiple different sides. And we need to know these attacks, and we need to put these attacks in order of importance, and the circadian rhythms might be the most important, and nobody in nutrition and exercise think that. Like they think that, yeah, maybe getting sunlight is good, maybe circadian rhythms do this or that, but nobody's on that level in like the normie NPC, and even some of the underground like raw meat scenes. And that's by design. That's by design. They don't want this information to get out there. Like they can sleep, like maybe the Kellogg's cereal ain't so good after all. Maybe the Red Dye ain't so good after all. Am I right, Bobby Kennedy? And we're gonna ban that shit. Am I right, Bobby? Like they can let some of this shit out there, and some of this shit just gets out there because it's so powerful like that. Things in the 2020. Like it's impossible to hide that for most of the people. But even then, most of these people still no wide awake. Sleep. What's the exact opposite of wide? Anyway, you get the point. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody knows better. Everybody's still asleep. Even though this was so obvious. And now people are dying left and right, and it's gonna only get worse. But these circadian rhythms, they might be the most important because they run the clocks of our bodies. Our bodies constantly taking information from our environment through visual and non-visual photoreceptors, and that runs the clocks of our body, and these clocks run every single mechanism, to my understanding, in your body. For example, if you get pimples, it might be that your skin clocks ain't working, they're out of the sync. If your metabolism ain't doing good, you cannot burn fat in your keto diet, or you have stomach problems, your sugar is sky high. Like we know, all of those are linked to light and your circadian rhythms. If you have some mental illnesses, when the light comes through your eyes or through your skin, your body uses this signal to produce the hormones, to produce the enzymes, to produce all the software that runs your body. And your body works in these rhythms. So it's very important that you sync yourself to the rhythm of nature. And the rhythm of nature is light, thanks sun, and darkness. Sometimes it's not so dark when the moon is out, and that's why we have lunatics, because moon either reflects the sunlight or it emits its own light, and it's blue light, and what we know about blue light, it's pretty bad for us. That's why when the full moon is out, everybody's so emotional. Everybody might be a little bit more horny than usual. Everybody starts to go kind of crazy if you pay attention to yourself and other people. Ladies used to be synced in the moon cycles because everybody was in synced in the natural cycles. But these days we don't live in nature, we live inside. When we have created our own little man-made suns, so we can emit light all the time, and that ruins the clocks of our bodies. We lose the sync we have on the clock of nature, and this is what we have adapted over time, over all these years, and now it's suddenly changed over the past like 150 years, but more so in the last 100 years, since we came up with the electricity and especially the AC grid that Tesla and Westinghouse came up with in the Chicago World's Fair. That's an interesting story. Maybe the Tartaria thing is also a psyop. I'm really starting to think that it's just to make you focus on things that doesn't matter. That's what I think about Tartaria. But anyway, those world fairs, they looked incredible. And how the fuck did they build all those? Even from plaster, if the buildings were from plaster, they did some amazing shit in the 1800s. Anyway, that's a side rant. The point is, we have been programmed to think it's cool to have these lights on. It's cool to go outside in the darkness. It's cool to party. It's cool to go nightclubs. And then we combine that with use of drugs like alcohol. These days young people are doing even more and more drugs because their dopamine doesn't work, because circadian rhythms, light controls your dopamine, and everybody's fucking that up, and nobody is in sync with nature, getting that natural light that I'm getting right now on my face, on my whole freaking body, like human beings used to all this time before the artificial lights came that destroyed our sync with nature, started to destroy our circadian rhythms, and then they made it cool to go outside, to party. This is what young people do, so they fuck us up right away, straight away. Then we have these sporting events, they always inside now. Musical events, like the festivals and musical events used to be outside and during the daytime. Now they run very long into the night, past 12 p.m. most cases. And young people do this year after year, and then when they're like 25 they realize that I'm all fucked up. Like 10 years ago it was maybe like people realized that in their 30s. Now maybe 5 years ago it was like in their 25s. Now it's like in their 20s. it's deteriorating us in such a fast scale that nothing except light, nothing except non-native EMFs, and nothing except circadian rhythms can explain that, because people didn't used to have perfect freaking diets. Like when I think about my grandmother and grandfather, they lived to their late 80s and they were pretty healthy. Like they started to only get problems in their like a little bit early 80s, and then in the mid 80s kind of started to fall apart. But when you think about people these days, like people get those kind of problems that my grandmother and grandfather got, who by the way built this place. I'm in many of my videos, so thank you, because this place is freaking awesome. This is my citadel, my happy place in Finland. But they didn't do any perfect diet. They didn't eat raw meat or any of this shit. They drank coffee every day, 4 or 5 cups of coffee with sugar and cream and milk. Like they made sweets every weekend, all the time. And they lived very happy, very fulfilling, Pierpoint maxing. They were together all their life for like 60-70 years. They built this amazing place. They were healthy into their 80s. But what they didn't have is these 5Gs, 4Gs, 3Gs. Like they started to kind of come up when it was their time to go, and those things probably fastened their demise. But they were their foundation, their heteroplasmy, their mitochondria, it was so good because they were born in the 1930s. And the world, especially Finland back in the day, like everybody lived naturally still then. So they didn't have any of these troubles through their youth. Like they were synced into nature. They didn't have much artificial light, none of these non-native EMFs. But they didn't eat perfect. They still lived very happy life. So there's nothing except the light and circadian rhythms that really can explain demise. But then it's also the food, because the food has gotten worse. But people could get away with eating all kinds of stuff, because it was local food, even if it wasn't, depending how you view nutrition. Depending of your view of nutrition, like the food wasn't like like the absolute perfect nutritious food, like raw animal products or whatever, raw milk, or they had raw milk back then. But it was all local food, so that's good. And then they just lived normal. They didn't think about food because they didn't have to, because everybody had energy. Everybody's redox was good because we still hadn't fucked up our environment. But now everybody has to be super careful, super myopic about nutrition because nobody can handle some of the quote-unquote bad things. And they might be bad things, they might not be natural things, but human beings also can handle them in natural environments much better and much longer time without any problems. But these days nobody can handle freaking this or that. Everybody's allergic to peanuts and eggs. That's because of these, but also because of nobody gets this, and nobody sleeps when it's dark, and nobody wakes when it's light. Like young people's circadian rhythms, myself included, throughout my whole 20s and my teenage years, were completely fucked up. And now that I have fixed it, I have noticed so much bigger difference than any diet, any food, any nutrition take, any. We don't even want to talk about exercise, because exercise, if you do exercise, maybe I'm gonna do a video about this. If you're gonna exercise, you gotta have to be exercising here. But exercising is kind of stupid in many ways in modern world. But movement is good. And the better your redox is, the more you wanna move, more you can move. That's why back in the days, these old people, they could move very well into old age. And they could build all kinds of things because they had energy. Like everybody was building crazy buildings. Now nobody's doing anything anymore. They're just on their computer, doing their little computer work, or playing video games, watching TikTok or Instagram. So that really is the biggest thing. And when you think about how they have made all these things that break our circadian rhythm, doing things in the night time, getting to bed late and waking up very late in the day. And when you understand circadian rhythms, you understand the importance of light and dark cycles for ourselves, because that runs, like I said, the clock mechanisms that run all the things we have, all the hormones. Like if you have hormonal problems, first thing you gotta fix is your circadian rhythms. It's gonna fix your light that you are under. This is the light we have been evolved and adapted to live under. Not those man-made lights. Now we could do, like I've said in many videos, we probably could make lights, much better lights, but nothing compares to sunlight. Nothing compares. Do you ever feel good sitting in front of your computer, watching your phone, sitting under artificial lights inside? Do you ever feel like, this is the best? Do you ever feel like euphoric? Like, goddamn, life is so good, life is amazing. You just melt in your freaking chair or in the ground or whatever when you're under this light. Like every time you go into sunlight, you feel fucking good. And then some people think it's bad for you. It's the stupidest fucking thing. But people are absolute retards because of all these things I have talked about in all of my videos. And every single video I go back to this. Every single video I say, go get this. Because guess what? Nothing makes you feel as good. Nothing. Like some things can give you like a higher spike in dopamine, but nothing lasts like sunlight. There's no negatives in sunlight, or maybe there might be if you are well, there is negatives also to sunlight. if you cannot, your skin is not primed. Also, circadian rhythms build your solar callus. I can be outside in the sun all day, like every single second, and I don't burn. I just get more and more tan. As you can see, my tan just gets better and better, and I feel better and better. Like this week, we had a couple of those really hot days. That's the best I've felt in all year. Straight up. I was outside all day getting that UV, like it was like UV index 6 in couple days, first time in year. And that's the best I felt. That's the best my tan has been. That's the best my skin has been. That's the best my mood has been. My sleep has been amazing. So nothing compares to this. No nutrition, now nutrition important, but no nutrition compares to the nutrition you get from that light in the sky. And when you fuck up your circadian rhythms, what I was saying, you never see the morning sunlight. That's how you get the burns, because the morning sunlight, it lacks UV and it's high in infrared and red light, and that primes your skin to handle more UV light. You don't get any UV damage in your skin. It's also all about food. You need to get DHA, you need to get high omega-3s, you need to get omega-6s out of your body, and you need to eat animal products, and that's how you get DHA, obviously. Seafood, oysters, salmon. What other animal products also good? And you need to eat that in the right time of the day. Again, rhythms, it's all about rhythms. You have to eat it right time of the day, and the best time if you want to avoid burns in your body is to eat straight after the like 30 minutes or 1 hour when you wake up. And this is like Jack Ruse 101. He has said this 20 years. But that's how you prime your skin if you are in high UV environment and you're a white boy like me. Or if you're ginger, then it's over for you, son. You have no soul anyway, so go to the underground tunnel. You're supposed to live underground, bro. The gingers, you don't need sunlight, but everybody else. But yeah, if you can't handle the sun, just know that you have been doing things very, very wrong for a certain amount of time, probably way too long. But you can reverse it if it's not gone too much south, so to speak. Because some things you can't reverse it anymore. You've been fucking up too long, and nature is gonna take you out. You went too much against nature's laws. You didn't abide nature, and nature's gonna take you out. That's natural selection for you. But anyway, that's my little circadian rhythms and everything else lesson for you today. Based science, get your circadian rhythms in sync. I cannot tell how big of an effect it has had on me. And obviously you do the best you can. It's pretty much insane to follow the exact light cycles right now in Finland, because it's so bad. And if you have some mental disorders, you really need light stability. That's why if you had different diseases, that light stability is really important, that the rhythm of light and dark cycle is always the same. Then you have to go tropics to cure yourself, but I don't have those, so I can handle this insane Finnish light cycle and darkness cycle. But what I was saying is pretty insane to follow like the exact light and dark cycle right now in Finland, because the light goes out in 11 p.m. and it comes up like 4 or 5 p.m. the sunrise. So that doesn't leave that much sleep for you. But actually, the better I feel, the less I need sleep in the summer, I've noticed. Like I have woken up some days at like 5 or 4:30 to see the sun set, like automatically, without any alarms. I never use alarms, never use alarms. But it has happened, and I go to sleep like 10 or 11 p.m. because that's when it kinda goes. It starts to get a little bit dark. And those days have been the days that I have gotten most amount of sun. So that I think like the native people used to do it that way. Like the Inuits and Eskimos and that stuff. And I have heard it that they basically like maniacs in summer. Like they don't sleep much. They just outside all day when the light is out. And then when the winter hits, then they sleep. Then it's time to go to your hibernation mode and sleep more and all that jazz. But base science might not do that this winter. We might have some other plans for this winter. Some new experiments, because this raw chicken shit, it's getting too easy. I have already proven salmonella and shit. Now we're gonna prove how important light is. That's the next step. We already destroyed germ theory. Now we're gonna destroy even all the nutrition and exercise and like all the freaking Norman NPC nonsense theories. And we're gonna get to bottom of these things. And the bottom of these things always leads to this, always leads to this, and always leads to smile in your face. Because it feels goddamn good to get this sunlight on the sack. Base science. Outside. Man.